Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Monday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hutco Roofing, hutcoroofing.com, Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com, and ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. Very glad to have you with us here, back at the homestead. Got back Saturday night. If you were here yesterday for Morning Scone, thank you. But back on the hamster wheel today. So we'll get Drew to school this morning, and normal time of the show here. We'll get Drew to school, and we will get you some LSU Daily later today and AFR at 3. So excited about getting back. Say that often. I do like, it's always a telltale that if you if you enjoy what you do, then when you leave and go vacation or whatever, when it's time to come back, if you're excited to come back, then you're doing the thing you should do professionally. So I've always said that about radio, and I love getting back and getting to go be on the air. So hang on. And pin. Okay. All right, so YouTube, do me a favor, smash that like button. Subscribe up to the channel if you haven't done so yet. Facebook, please like the page, share the post, like the page, share the post. As always, appreciate y'all for being there with us. LSU baseball beats Sam Houston State to win the Carbach Classic, or the Carbach Classic, the Round Rock Classic, I guess, which was sponsored by D1 Baseball. It doesn't matter. Anyway, big day, 16-4. LSU wins it over Sam Houston State. And Tigers got rolling early. If you missed the game, Tigers put up a 2-spot in the top of the first. Braden Jobert hit his first of 2 bombs on the day. 5-spot in the second, 3 in the third, 2 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, 1 in the sixth, 1 in the seventh. The only inning they didn't score was the 8th. They had another run in the 9th. So big offensive day that I know a lot of people were waiting on, especially after the really disappointing day offensively Saturday where Iowa really handcuffed you. LSU banged out 23 hits and scored 16 runs. That looks more like the offense we're going to be accustomed to seeing this year. Now, I don't know that it's gonna look like 23 hits, 16 runs and 23 hits, but I do. Where's the box score? I do think. Hang on, I want to look up the. Here's the box score. Okay, so Sam Houston State did have 2 errors. They misplayed a couple of balls in the outfield, which allowed runs to score. So there were 13 of the 16 runs were earned, so only 3 unearned runs. So I didn't like it was cheap. And LSU only walked twice on the day. So it ain't like what they got was given. They earned it by swinging the bats. I love this lineup. Talk about pitching in a second. I love this lineup. Gavin Dugas leading off gives you power in the leadoff spot. Dylan Cruz in the 2-hole. I love having your best hitter in the 2-hole. You're going to see more pitches to hit, and you're also obviously better chance of coming up with someone on base. We saw that yesterday. Cruz was 5 for 6 with 4 RBI. He had 3 doubles. Now, granted, one of the doubles, if you missed it, one of the doubles was a pop-up on the infield that they misplayed, and nobody got over to it, and so it landed and 2 runs scored. But anyway. But I love having Jobert in the 3-hole behind Cruz. It's a pick-your-poison type situation. And then Tommy White following Jobert. So Tommy White's had a sluggish start to the season. He's batting 200. He was 1 for 5 yesterday. And the one was another one that outfielder sort of misplayed. But and then Trey Morgan following Tommy White. So ultimately, if you're a pitcher, if you're a coach calling pitches, you got to choose who you're going to pitch to. And so if you decide, all right, we're gonna pitch to Braden Jobert, he's liable to hit 2 tanks on you. If you say we don't want to pitch to Braden Jobert, we're going to pitch to Dylan Cruz. Well, Cruz will hit you anyway. And then if you decide, yeah, we're not going to mess with Cruz or Jobert, and you pitch to Tommy White, well, Tommy White could come up with the bases loaded, and he could hurt you. So, and then obviously Trey Morgan. And then you follow that up with Bear Jones, who was 2 for 4 yesterday, who mashed another home run. Brady Neal is so impressive at the plate, y'all. His batting, he's hitting 300. He was 2 for 5 yesterday. Did strike out once, but what I like about Brady Neal is he has a very mature approach at the plate, and he's not trying to do too much. Here's what I mean. First at bat, he's a lefty. So first at bat, yanks one down the right field to right field and missed a homer by 2. I mean, it was at the base of the wall. Missed a homer, but it's a long fly out, but to right field. Second at bat, he's down 0-2, widens up and just shortens up, punches one right up the middle. He struck out on a really, really competitive. I need to go look at how many pitches. It was a long at bat, and he was really competitive. He took a. It was a good take, but they rung him up. And then the next at bat, he gets a hit and ropes one to left center. So he's hitting to all fields, hitting with 2 strikes, hitting with power, hitting for average. Brady Neal offensively is so fun to watch, and he's sitting there at the 7 hole. So then you follow him up with Jordan Thompson. And then Ben Napolt, who kind of is the hole in your lineup right now. He's hitting 167. But, while Tommy White's not playing third base, Ben Napolt is. So it keeps everything else sort of intact. But, I guess, could you play Gavin Guidry at third? Maybe. Maybe that's something they look at if Napolt continues to struggle. Don't know. But we'll see. Really good day. Chase Shore's got the start. Jay Johnson said before the game that Shores would only go through the lineup once, so he only pitched 2 innings. Allowed 3 hits in the first, but worked around it. Made it through the second. And just 1 walk, so didn't allow any runs. Then they handed the ball off to Collins, and then Edwards, then Herring, and Blake Money in the 9th. Money gave up a home run because Money gives up home runs. But all things considered, good day out of the bullpen as well. Bryce Collins, unfortunately, continues to struggle. That's a little concerning. But, keep running him out there and see if we can get it together because he was really good before the season. So, anyway, I could go on and on and on. Let's see what y'all got. We'll move quickly here this morning to get to everybody. Lady Tigers won last night. Congrats to them. They finished 27-1. That ties a program best record for the regular season. PMAC attendance record last night. So, congrats to Kim Mulkey and the Tigers for the win yesterday. Scott Borch, Truax, what's going on? Matthew Garner, what's going on? David Coslin, Bubba Smith, Ryan Amanda Guidry, Paul Losi. Good morning, y'all. Good morning. Good to see everybody back here this morning. Ryan Amanda Guidry, how was the vacation? Magnificent. Didn't want to leave. Northern California is gorgeous. It's just, wine country is amazing. It's I could retire there if state taxes weren't so high. I guess that's the trade-off, right? Quentin Brakebill, David Tolson, I was wine country. Yeah, man, it's incredible. Got to do 6 different wineries, so we're there 3 full days. So we left on Tuesday. We had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and came home on Saturday. So got to see 2 per day. Got to start really good, see good variety. Had a lot of great meals. Just fantastic. Mark Vitanovich, good morning. Yeah, man, how about Dame last night? 71 points. Whew. Craig Duga. Middle of the weekend games don't matter. No, man, they all matter, right? Samuel Merrifield, Matt, do you think LSU maintains number 1 this week? Not that matters. Yeah, I don't know, Samuel. Honestly, I'd have to look around the rest of the country to see what other ranked teams did, and I didn't. I just didn't look at a weekend scoreboard. I mean, I was out of pocket Friday. That was our last full day in Napa, and Saturday was a long, long travel day. So I don't know what everybody did. I'll start to dig into some of that today. It's rare, if not impossible, for a team to go wire to wire number 1 in baseball, so I don't expect LSU will. But, whatever. Craig Duga watched Fury versus Paul yesterday. Wasn't an easy watch, sloppy with flashes of actual boxing. Is Paul a legit boxer? Yes, needs a lot of work. You can tell something's there, but he's time under his belt. Yet he's managed to be really interesting and bring people to the sport and make a lot of money in the process. So good for him, I guess. Casey Smith, good morning. How about a Game Coin Update B-Day edition? All right, Casey Smith, happy birthday to you. That's awesome. Game Coin still on target for a Q1 completion. So that would be by the end of March. So there was a board meeting on Wednesday of this past week, which I was not participating in, obviously, because I was in Napa. So no update on that front. The way I would sort of describe it, which I know is a little maybe frustrating, but it's like, if you're building a house, you see the structure go up and you're like, oh man, we're going to be in that house in like 2 weeks because the outside's finished. Well, then you realize, well, you got to deal with like the flooring and the walls, and you got to paint, you got to do electrical, you got to install appliances, you got to install fixtures. And it's like all the little things on the inside that to finish a house, like that's where it is. So from the exterior, it looks done. Like it's functional, it looks done. There's just on the platform all the things like finishing a house that are being checked right now. It's exciting though, man. We're close. Larry Gardner, Reed Rule, good morning. Did you find any solutions for LSU basketball while you were wandering the vineyards? I did not. Yeah, actually, yes, I know. Recruit really well and get better players next year. Wendell Norman, Devin Kelly, what's going on? Matt Plavidal, morning, Matt. Not ready for this heat with the post office. Already looking into coolers and things to do to stay cool. First summer as a mail carrier, I've been warned. Yeah, man, big hat, right? Big hat that covers your head and neck area. Trivia Carter, good morning. Trivia, it's Trivia's birthday as well. Look at that. We got two birthdays today in Trivia. Erica, I can confirm yesterday, did in fact buy a new Hershey bar to send you one of your Drew party favors. Happy birthday, man. Hope it's a great one. Zachary Moe, Matt, do you think Jay bunted on Friday because he knew you were on vacation? Maybe. I did not get to see the game Friday. I was at, I believe it was at Whitehall Lane in Napa Friday during the game. Bart St. Germain, what's the best app to buy to be able to watch LSU baseball? Well, Bart, this weekend it was just a one-off because they were in that Round Rock Classic, and so you had to buy it through D1 Baseball. But for the rest of the season, it's ESPN. It's like all the LSU games, conference games, and home games will be on ESPN Plus. Brett DeGrow, good morning. Weston Weaver, let's see, Reed, Shores only went 2 innings, possibly gets moved to Saturday spot or too early to panic on Cooper. So Reed, the 2 innings for Shores yesterday was predetermined. Jay Johnson, I was listening to his pregame interview on Eagle 98.1, and he said he was only going to go through the lineup once. So the max he would have gone was 3 innings had he gone through the lineup, perfect. So he said there were 4 or 5 guys he wanted to get work after that. Keep in mind, Thatcher Hurd's going to pitch Tuesday. You didn't see Christian Little this weekend. There's a lot of arms that you didn't even get to this weekend. I think you wanted to put your best foot forward in the road game against Texas and start to set plans for how it's going to look in SEC weekends. So I think Reed, my feeling has always been that Thatcher Hurd ultimately is going to move into that Saturday spot and Cooper goes back to the bullpen. Now, if he keeps throwing the way he did in the opener, then it's hard to justify taking him out of that spot. But this Saturday he struggled. So if you struggle, you open the door for someone else to take that spot. Let's see, Samuel Smith. If this is any indication on how the season will go, Cruz will go down as top 3 player in LSU history. He's unbelievable. Yeah, man. 5 for 6 yesterday. Great day. I mean, he's going to have a lot of those days, And, he's talked about that. I think he talked about that in Leah Vann's piece, the big feature she wrote on him. he wants to go down as Alex Bregman, as Shaquille O'Neal, as Joe Burrow, as one of those like transcendent all-time players in LSU history. And he's got the potential to be the first overall pick in this year's draft. He won't get out of the top 5. He'll likely be the first collegiate position player taken. Could like a high school arm or power hitter go, maybe, but he's going to be right there in that conversation to be the first overall pick, which hadn't happened since Ben McDonald. So, Jonathan Martin, good morning. Let's see, trivia. Why didn't Trey Morgan play Saturday? On Friday, he was in left field, and he was going after a ball. He ran into the wall and apparently hurt his wrist, thumb, hand, something like that. So he missed the game Saturday and was back in there yesterday. Cody Kibido, morning, Matt. I believe you mentioned this before. Is the plan to move Hurd to the weekend rotation or keep him as the midweek starter? Yeah, eventually. Look, here's the thing, Cody. You can have a plan in your mind, but if that actually manifests depends on if it's executed, right? So, yeah, I think that was the plan is for Hurd ultimately, to be a weekend guy. But, he struggled with his command against Southern. And if you struggle as the midweek guy, there's no justification moving you to a weekend, right? So he's got to go. Tomorrow's a big day for Thatcher Hurd. Jesse Brown, morning, Matt. Baseball bounced back. Thought Cruz should have been tournament MVP. He was. Cruz was the tournament MVP. Make sure I didn't see this wrong, but they posted it on. I was watching the game yesterday, and they listed the all-tournament team on the broadcast. Yeah, Dylan Cruz was the MVP. Cruz was MVP. Skeens was the all-tournament team starting pitcher, and Joe Bear was on there as well. Yeah, Cruz was the MVP. Let's see. Damon Gilmore, good morning. Did you see Bianco's catch? I did not. Hunter Broadhead, Kelly Groves. Hey, Dad, good morning. All right, going to see Crystal Poche at 8 o'clock. I'm a believer, making y'all believers day after day after day. If you have pain, book a session with Crystal Poche, restoredmotions.com. As always, shout out to Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, of course. If you need an orthopedist, go to Brock. They're the best. And, of course, Hudco Roofing. Need a roof? Call Hudco. If you need an EV charger, ProCharge EV. All right, a couple more minutes here. Let me go quickly. I'm going to run out of time. Rode Yule, I don't see Napoleon leaving the lineup. It'll be interesting, Rode, because I actually disagree with you. Whenever Tommy White is healthy enough to go play defense, he'll go back to third base, and Napolt's not taking Dugas' spot at second as long as Dugas is hitting the way he is. And the only possible rotations that you would see was if you put Bear Jones at first, then you would have Morgan left. But in that situation, White back at third means Jones goes back to DH and Morgan goes back to first. And you have Joe Bear and either Pearson or Kling in the outfield. So Napolt, when Tommy White's able to play third again, likely it goes to the bench. Paul Losey's LSU Texas on TV. It's probably a Longhorn Network game. Let me check. Yep, Longhorn Network. Couple of more. I'm running out of time. My apologies, y'all, if I miss you. Sorry. Earl, good morning. Gail Lindsay, good morning. Reagan Lee, could we see Christian Little start against Texas? I think my understanding is Hurd is going to start against Texas, but I think Little is first out of the bullpen. Rapping Badges, what's going on? Nick Newbill, Matt, why do you think Jay waited so long to take out Collins? Sometimes, well, first of all, they had a big lead. Second of all, you can sort of see how a guy reacts in a situation. Let him work through things. Maybe it was situational. I would have to go back and look at the situation. I know we walked the base loaded, and then was it Edwards who came in and walked in a run? Sometimes you just want to see how a guy reacts. Thomas Lamont, good morning, Matt. His 23 hits good. Pretty good, Thomas. Brad David, do you think Kamara will get a long suspension because of the video? I would guess 6 games. Anything less than that, I think, is lanyard. David Bass, good morning. What's everyone's thoughts on D1 streaming? They obviously had some issues with the broadcast, but first of all, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of LSU going to play in a tournament where it's not available on broadcast TV. I think it's a disservice to your fans, but I also understand if you're Jay Johnson, you want to go play in a competitive weekend away from home, and that was available, so you did it. So I get both sides of it. Jesse Brown, Matt, thoughts on the freshman DB transfer from LSU? Yeah, Michael Doherty, we talked about that a little bit. That was on days run together, I think Saturday when he announced that. Yeah, I think it's likely a situation where he just wants to go somewhere he can play as a freshman. LSU adding 4 corners via the transfer portal, all with starting experience, likely means he's not playing right away. So likely going somewhere that he could play. Tim Gotro, good morning. Go Tigers, 1205 at the end of the broadcast. They said several times Joe Bear was the MVP. They showed it on screen. We were confused when it showed Cruz. Yeah, so I heard them say Joe Bear, and then when they put the big graphic up with the all-tournament team, like at the end, if you kept watching through the end of the broadcast, they corrected it. Cajun Country, if Will Wade is at Ole Miss, melt big time. Well, we'll talk about that if and or when it may happen. So we'll see. All right, Scott Barnes, Trey Potan, good morning. All right, I gotta go, y'all. Got to get Drew up, get him ready for school. Thanks as always for watching YouTube. Do me a favor, smash that like button. Please subscribe up to the channel if you haven't done so yet. Facebook, please like the Matt Moscone page, share the post. And support our sponsors, Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com, Crystal Poche over at Restored Motions, RestoredMotions.com, and ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. Okay, we'll get you an LSU Daily episode up here this morning, and AFR3. Y'all have a great one. Peace.